Surprise guests, everybody here. Jose Vega, Kynan Thistlethwaite. What's up, guys?
We're just out here looking for reasons to yell at people.
I know. I thought I forgot I invited you. I said, "Oh no, they're gonna come scream at me," and then I'm like, "Oh no, that's right. I invited them on."
I haven't blown up Nord Stream 2, so no reason to yell.
Okay, good. Yeah, good. No problem.
So yeah, guys, meet Tusker. She's my co-host for the evening. She was excited that you guys were coming on, and I was excited to have you guys because you guys were at it again this week. This time your target was Ritchie Torres, Congressman Ritchie Torres. So usually I set these segments up, but since I knew you guys were joining, I figure we are going to play the first two clips of your intervention there. Do you want to set this up, how you got there and why you went? And then we'll play those videos.
Yeah, sure. I'm actually a constituent of Ritchie Torres, first of all. I live in his district. I'm a South Bronx resident. I didn't like the guy when he first got in. I didn't like the guy when he got reelected. I still don't like the guy, period. He's a complete stooge. He's an Israeli lobby plant. He gets all his money from places like IPAC and stuff. He's an idiot. And I love him, though, because he's a human being. You have to love all human beings, right? But and so he was having this town hall. It wasn't even his. He was brought in by the Pelham Parkway Neighborhood Association, and there was some talk as to whether or not he'll show up because his aunt had just died. But lo and behold, he did. And actually, we were a lot kinder in this one because usually we start just shouting and cut them off. But he was actually taking questions. I guess he didn't realize I was in the audience. And so in the clips that you're about to play, you'll see what exactly we go into, because I don't think any other congressional member has been challenged, let alone has asked for the Cy Hirsch revelations to be brought up. So that's how it came up, and that's why we were there.
Yeah, no, I knew something was up because I saw you tweet out a picture of you and Ritchie Torres saying my favorite congressman. I'm like, they must be up to something because I know this can't possibly be his favorite congressman. And then sure enough, you were able to clarify that. All right, let's play. So we're going to play two parts. We're going to play Jose's, and then we're going to play Kynan's. So here we go. Here's part one.
Cy Hirsch just released the fact that the United States blew up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. You weren't briefed on that. Why not? Are you going to put a congressional probe into that? Yes or no? Because this ain't no ordinary journalist. You know that.
So...
I want to hear what he has to say.
Nord Stream is a pipeline that transfers oil from Europe, particularly Germany. From Russia to Germany. So we don't have the authority to investigate pipelines.
All right, come on. Now that's bullshit. You know that. Victoria Nuland herself says she's happy that it's a pile of metal underwater. Do you share her sentiment?
Here's what we know. The Europeans are conducting an investigation.
They investigated.
And it is true.
Why did Joe Biden say that we are going to get rid of the Nord Stream pipeline? And when asked, but wait a minute, that's run by Gazprom in Germany, how are you going to do it? He said,
we'll be able to do it.
If you have definitive evidence.
Yeah, we do. It's called Cy Hirsch.
Then produce the evidence.
He already
You already produced the evidence. Read the article.
Listen, this is Cy Hirsch. This is the My Lai massacre. Okay, this is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. He is not going to publish something he can't prove. So unless you're naive enough and you don't know that, I'm here to inform you. I'm at least asking for congressional inquiry into whether or not it's true, because his credibility alone should prompt that, don't you think?
The Europeans are conducting an investigation.
We know the United States did this.
It seems like you know the answer to the question, so there's no need to...
Well, what are you going to do? I'm your constituent. I'm your constituent. I want you to actually do something about it.
I'm going to try to answer your question once more, and then I'm going to move on. The Europeans are conducting...
That's a non-answer. What are you doing? Because if the United States did this, you are going to you have to hold them accountable. This is listen, we are on the verge of a nuclear war right now. I don't think you know that, and if the people here don't know that, they should. You talk a big game about the Bronx. You talk a big game about a lot of things, but guess what? None of it's going to matter if we're all dead. Think about that for a second, right? You are leading us into a nuclear war. What's happening in Ukraine directly affects what's happening here. You don't think you're going to get us into a nuclear war? Is exactly how we get into a nuclear war. Now, as your constituent, I demand that you stop funding the Ukrainians. I understand that you're also an Israeli lobby plant. Look, how can you deny what's happening to the Palestinians, but you can defend what's going on in Ukraine? And now you're trying to erase their history. You are the biggest fraud. You think George Santos is a liar? You're the biggest fraud here.
All right. So that was part one. And then Kynan came in. Kynan, do you want to set up your segment there?
Well, it was a while after Jose had been thrown out. And, I came in with the same mindset. I mean, Torres, whatever you may think, he's giving us the opportunity to ask questions. And he actually, I think he probably answered every constituent's question in that room. So I'll give him that. So I addressed him respectfully as well. So I'll set it up like that, I guess.
He was a lot nicer than I was. He was
I was going to say, here, I'll show it how it started. Here.
I'll address you respectfully.
I'll address you respectfully. It's good. You guys have this great, good cop, bad cop routine going where, Jose, smacks the guy across the face and breaks him. And then Kynan comes in 5 minutes later with the coffee and donut. Hey, don't mind my partner over there. He's a little hot-headed sometimes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a very good act. You guys are really getting a good routine.
Yeah, you'll let him have a cigarette to kind of calm his nerves.
Yeah. Listen, we just want to talk. We just want to talk to you. That's all. Don't mind him. He gets a little hot under the collar sometimes. All right, here we go.
Seymour Hersh article, which said that the United States was responsible for the destruction of the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines. I'm going to be honest, it didn't seem like you knew about it, which is a concern. Because Seymour Hersh, if you didn't know, this is one of the most decorated journalists in all of
familiar with Seymour Hersh, yes.
He broke the story.
I'm familiar with the article.
Familiar with Seymour Hersh.
So when someone like him is saying something like that, it has to be taken seriously. And right now, there has been absolutely no mainstream coverage of that article. And they're trying to bury it, And another thing, the Bulletin of Atomic Sciences just said that we're now 90 seconds on the brink of midnight. We're the closest that we've ever been to a thermonuclear war. And listen, I get what you might think about what's going on in Ukraine. It's a tragedy. But the only way to save Ukrainian lives, to save Russian lives, to save everyone's lives is to actually push for negotiations. Because the war in Ukraine cannot be won. Over 100,000 people have died in Ukraine because we've been sending over $100 billion worth of arms over there to push conflict that can never be won. So I'm asking you, I'm sure you have a conscience, to actually lobby in Congress to start negotiations, to stop the brink towards nuclear war. Because frankly, all these other local issues, they may be important, but the most important issue of all of humanity is stopping nuclear war. I want you to make a commitment to that, because I believe you have a conscience.
Thank you. No one wants nuclear war, so I've addressed this issue. There's no answer that I can give you that's going to satisfy you. My view is Vladimir Putin chose to invade a sovereign nation state. He has committed atrocities, crimes against humanity. We are holding him accountable.
If NATO didn't
but we are not directly.
For the past 30 years, if we actually accepted Putin's security guarantees, which he wanted, we would not be in this conflict right now. So the fact, what you're saying Putin started it, that's a lie. NATO and the U.S. started it.
Are you willing to stop taking money from corporations? Are you willing to stop Russia's?
Is that lady who asked, are you willing to stop taking money from corporations? Was she one of yours or was she a regular?
Yeah, that's Deborah. She's with the Bronx Green Party. Very good woman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just to be clear, one of ours is anybody who wants to yell at politicians.
I was just wondering. Because I have a question for you after this is done, but I guess I'll say it because we only have a few more seconds left here.
Let him answer.
We disagree. I think we.
On stopping nuclear war?
There's not going to be nuclear war. We are exhausting every means. We're not directly intervening. We're not directly combating Russia. We're helping. Let me finish. We're helping the Ukrainians. We're helping the Ukrainians help themselves.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Right.
Oh, that's it.
We're approaching negotiations. If Vladimir Putin were willing to negotiate for peace, then that would be one thing.
Hold it down. Hold it down.
You're lying.
Hold it down.
I'm lying.
It's amazing. You know, you're right, Jose. I mean, that's what I've always thought of this guy. He's a fucking moron.
Yes,
I mean, the guy is a moron. You can tell from the way he talks he's a moron. He's not sure of himself about anything he says. He talks the way I would talk when I was supposed to read a book that I didn't read, and I had to get up in front of English class and talk about it, and I read like half of the Cliff Notes. You know?
Nord Stream is a pipeline that
Germany
oil.
Yeah, right. It connects Germany to. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. It connects Russia to Germany. Yes, Nord Stream 2. Yes.
You see, there's
Hirsch. Yes.
countries in Europe and oil.
Yeah, connects oil to Europe.
This way.
Yeah, right.
And it's gas. It's gas, by the way, not oil. Like,
Right.
This guy is a stooge. He's just a stooge that his aides or whatever people get paid to put some flashcards in front of him, and that's the reason why he looks so dumbfounded in this moment. I will give him at least I guess he was polite, and at least he was taking questions, and he wasn't just outright adversarial or calling you rude, like our favorite socialist,
like AOC,
so-called legislator AOC did. You know, at least there's that.
I want to make it clear that like I didn't set out to start yelling at these people. See, like the thing is, even before I did the AOC thing, I did something with Bowman, and I waited till the end because he said he was going to take questions. Never took a question, so I decided I have to be heard. Same thing with the AOC thing. Like when Kynan and I were discussing how we're going to go to AOC, we were thinking, okay, if you get the mic first, then you say this. If I get the mic first, we weren't thinking we have to get up. We have to, in our minds, we're like, well, shit, okay, these are planned, pre-written questions. We have to be heard. It's not a matter of we're intentionally trying to do it. And so with Torres, I told Kynan, start recording during his introduction. I said, you know what? Actually, no. If he's really going to take questions, let's see if he's actually honest. And he did. And in the unabridged version that I posted last night, I start out by saying, look, Mr. Torres, you know, I'm known in the Bronx here for yelling at a lot of politicians, AOC, Bowman, Espaillat.
So you actually told him who you were. I mean, because he must have known who you were when you said that, because that AOC video went everywhere.
Oh, he knew. I saw his look on his face, and then I said, but I want to give you props for the fact that you're actually taking questions. So okay. So anyway, with that being said, and then Cy Hirsch that's how we plan these things out.
Yeah, if you guys keep going, they're just gonna have like your faces just posted in every single organizing event, just like back there. It's just like scan the audience for this guy.
We'll have to start getting creative. We'll put on our, best Groucho Marx disguise or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you guys are going to be good. Well, you've had friends of yours, the disruption at the Obama rally right before the midterm, those were friends of yours, right? So you have people go out and shout down all these people at these various rallies and meetings and things like that. Ritchie Torres and AOC are from different should we say wings within the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, it's become evident over these past couple of years that there's not much distance between the corporate wing and the so-called progressive wing. But Ritchie Torres signed on to the anti-socialism legislation that they passed through, is socialism evil, yes or no, right? So he's on the opposite side of those issues from AOC. Did you guys realize a difference in the crowds at those rallies? Like, what was the response you got at the AOC rally, which was I think it was pretty badly attended, if I remember. You guys were some of the only people in that room. Tonight, obviously, this last rally, that was a smaller room, but it seemed like a full room. Did you notice a difference in the reception? Because these are two different kind of Democrats, at least in theory.
Kind
of. Yeah, I think it was a big difference. I mean, with the AOC thing, I remember it was Tina Forte, I think, and her posse that were there. And they were the ones that were heckling her in the beginning. And then there was this Latino guy, I remember, to the right of me that was heckling her in Spanish for something relating to immigration.
And Tina Forte was the Republican challenger for AOC's seat.
Right. So I remember, I mean, they were kind of, applauding us when we were doing our thing. But other than that, I mean, people weren't having it. With this one, I would say, I mean, you saw in my intervention, there were people applauding. There were people that were legitimately had an issue with what Torres was saying.
Who weren't in on it, who weren't there with you, just people at the rally. Well, that's a good sign. That's a really good sign.
And I actually connected with a few people afterwards that, wanted to get in touch with us, who want to, continue collaborating to do these interventions. I mean, because the point is we don't want to be the face of it. We want the masses, I think, to be the face of this movement, to get at their politicians. So I would say it was a difference. More people are starting to wake up, I think.
And this wasn't, the Torres event wasn't like a Ritchie Torres town hall. This was a local neighborhood association, which always has their regulars come in that invited Torres. So, and these were all like older people who, their issues were like the mailbox gets stuck sometimes. And, the stop sign needs to be more visible because these cars, and so those were the kind of issues that they were bringing up to Torres, some of the UFO stuff. But these were regulars who happened to be coming in on the night when Torres was invited. And, so they were real Bronx New Yorkers. They just, yeah.
Well, you should have raised a concern like that at the end after. And by the way, the tree branches are growing in front of the stop sign. I can't see it. I almost got hit by a car the other day.
I got lots of complaints.
What do they say? Think globally, act locally, right? Should have gotten really pissed off about that at the end. Yeah.
Well, I remember fun. Jose, at one point he said only federal issues, right?
Oh, yeah. He did say only, in the beginning, he said, I'll only take federal issues. But then he said, okay, I'll take questions on anything, because a lot of people had questions on other things.
The Nord Stream issue, because like you said, Jose, I don't think any American politician has been confronted about this. It's just the level of gaslighting on this is just so incredible. We saw the Chapo Trap House guys brought up. The only reason I saw this clip is because somebody tweeted out this clip to attack them. And so I played it because it said they were, conspiracy mongering. And I forget which one of the guys said this, but he's like, okay, if Russia actually did blow up the pipeline, wouldn't we be hearing about it every day, all day, every day? Wouldn't mainstream media just run with that if they committed this heinous act? That right there should give away that they didn't do it. Because if they did do it, it would be front page news every single day since it happens. But the other thing, you played a very brief snippet of this in your little video there, but I'll just play this whole thing. It's not long. Here's Joe Biden himself saying before the invasion, hey, if they invade, Nord Stream's going to go away. Here it is, straight from his mouth.
Answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that? Exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
There you go. So what is controversial about this theory exactly? I don't understand. Like I said, the level of gaslighting, how people just get away with calling people conspiracy theorists when the president of the United States on camera right before the invasion says, if Russia pulls the trigger, the pipeline's going to be no more, and we have ways of doing it. I don't understand what
it's the truth.
Of course, that's why I was surprised that that I wasn't surprised that the audience was actually somewhat on our side. I was kind of happy about that these people were informed about what was going on. And I'll just say on record right now, Chapo Trap House, they did a whole episode on LaRouche. It was pretty funny in my opinion, and by your logic, that guy is pretty funny too. So, I hope they watch this show because I want them to know, I have no hate towards them. Sometimes I watch their things. It's kind of funny. Sometimes I disagree. Anyway, not to go off topic.
It's okay.
But to go back to this topic of the Nord Stream pipeline, I remember when it first blew up, everybody was like, okay, United States. That was the United States. It was the United States. Nobody thought it was anything. Nobody thought the Russians would actually ever blow up their own stupid pipeline, right? And then they tried to play it off like it was some kind of accident. Of course, that didn't happen either. And then it was all swept under the rug. I was like, well, wait a minute. Where did the story go? Right? It happened, and then it was gone. It was like, okay, yeah, it happened. We don't really know. Maybe it was the Russians. Move on. Let's go. It's like, okay, well, there's clearly definitely something else happening here.
Exactly.
I think it's because the Russians were too busy making sure the mailboxes got stuck in obviously Putin has a master plan in here. Oh, and I just wanted to mention, I did see something. I listened to the Radio War Nerd podcast where they interviewed Cy Hirsch, and he talked about basically going out on his own, because I've heard a lot of people say he doesn't have any fact checking, he doesn't have anything like that, and he specifically mentioned that he hired an editor in order to still have that process because he needs to have someone to check him. So he is very much aware of that, and it just seems like everyone kind of is characterizing it as like Cy Hirsch sitting in a basement somewhere, just like writing out some conspiracy screed, and that's not really what's going on, I don't think.
Right.
No, of course. He's not going to want to get something wrong. I mean, this is a big, big deal. This is something that can, as he put it, it could end NATO, right? You're talking about something that can completely shift the dynamic for the next century, right? He's not going to want to get that wrong, because if he gets this wrong, I'm not saying he did, but like, let's just assume for a second that this whole story is wrong. I don't know. I don't think you could ever, nobody will ever take opposition to the war seriously again, because there might be some people who are kind of on the line on this war, maybe like, yeah, maybe we are giving too much money. I don't see it. Oh, I hope this Cy Hirsch thing doesn't turn out to be true. And then if it turns out to not be true, or he gets discredited somehow, those people are going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to shut all that out forever. And they'll never come back.
I mean, to me, it's not even a question of did he get it right or did he get it wrong. He either has it right, or as Tusker, you said, he just made it up, right? I mean, this doesn't seem like the kind of thing you could really get wrong, honestly. It seems like the thing you either just make up out of thin air or you have it right. And my money is, of course, that he has it right, right? What are the odds that he would just make this up? It seems like a hell of a story to make up. It was about a 3,000-word article. If he made this up, he'd be much wealthier as a novelist than as a journalist, right? If he's able to spin narratives like that. I mean, it just makes no sense. The idea that Russia blew it up never made any sense at all. It's their pipeline. If they wanted to cuck Germany, they could just turn it off. What do they got to go blow it up for? It makes absolutely zero sense. It's theirs. And we promised that we would take it out if they invaded. And now here you have a very reputable journalist who's broken several bombshell stories over the last 50 years saying they did it. I have a source that told me exactly how it happened. Could he be lying? Sure. Are the odds of that double digits? No. I would put it less than 1%, you know? So anyway.
There are just small details that are wrong, but the overall story is correct. You know,
that's how I've seen people debunk it. They're saying like, well, no, this ship wasn't here on this time, on this date. You know,
yeah, that's OSNet. That's open intelligence stuff. That stuff that Bellingcat does, that's nonsense. Like that's there for a reason. It's there to throw people off the scent and to basically obscure what the real story is. But you know, that's kind of what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe it's a ship name that's wrong. You know, I mean, if anything, it's just small details. But the overall narrative of the story is 100% makes sense, and it's exactly the type of stuff that historically we've done in the past.
You know, who holds these people accountable? Because like the people who are supposed to hold the people who did this accountable are the ones in the highest seats of power. What do we do now? You know, we keep bringing it to their face. Yes. Now, I hope somebody is courageous enough to hold them accountable. Some congresswoman, AOC, hopefully, maybe. I don't know. I hope.
Now you guys are doing all we can do at the moment. You know, just getting out there, trying to get the word out and trying to educate the public whenever you can.
Please clap.